So you want to know which movies actually scared me growing up? Because let's be honest, most of those scary movies people swear by today, they're just not scary. And I don't mean that, oh man, that really surprised me scary. I mean the sprinting to your room after turning off the lights scary. Triple checking the pile of clothes scary. And don't you just hate jump scares? A movie will be doing good, building its tension, and then boom, random jump scare. That's not fear. Yeah, your heart jumped a little bit. Maybe you got a little bit of adrenaline. But it doesn't stick. It's like a chef dumping a bunch of salt on a dish and asking, is it good now? There's just no flavor. Jump scares can work when they're used right. But when a movie relies on them, it just kind of feels like the writer doesn't know what they're doing. So growing up, the movies that really stayed with me weren't about the gore. They weren't about the big monsters or the flashy scares. They were about the silence, the dark hallways, a camera being on a doorway just a little too long. You didn't know what was coming. You only knew something wrong was gonna happen soon. These movies really tapped into my childhood fears of being alone, being watched, but not being believed. They let my imagination do most of the work, and especially in the dark. The scariest part, the fear didn't end when the credits started rolling. That's just when it was getting started. So these are my top 5 childhood horror movies, the ones that really stuck with me. And let me know if any of these stuck with you growing up. I was already not a fan of dolls, so this movie had a head start. There's something deeply unsettling about dolls just sitting there, staring at you with their beady little eyes, and this movie took that uncanniness and poured gasoline all over it. It didn't help that one of my aunts was obsessed with dolls. Shelves full of them. And my cousins used to always tell me, with a straight face, that during the full moon, the dolls would come off the shelves and rearrange the house. Yeah, I ain't never sleeping over. This movie fed that exact feeling, that sense of being watched, when you're so sure that there's nothing watching you. And then there's this ritual, the words that Chucky says before he transfers his soul into the doll. As a kid, this was a hard no. I tried my best not to repeat anything from the ritual. I didn't care if it was fake, I just didn't want to accidentally be turned into a doll myself, out of curiosity. But the kind where your brain goes, yeah, we're not doing that. There are a ton of spin-offs and sequels. Some of them are fun, but nothing hit like the OG. This movie controlled how I slept until university. Not for a week, not for a year, years. I couldn't turn the lights off. I didn't trust my own shadow at times. And the worst part, even being inside my house didn't feel safe anymore, because the way she got you was simple. If you're in the dark, you're up for grabs. That meant the bedrooms, the hallways, the closets, even the space under my bed was no good for hiding, because once the lights are out, your time's up. And this scene is burned into my brain. Only after growing up did I realize that the movie itself hadn't aged perfectly. But the concept still works. A ghost tooth fairy that punishes you in the darkness, and a mask made of teeth that's both good and cursed. This movie felt illegal to watch. You're slowly watching people look for something that just doesn't want to be seen until it's too late, like death or the Grim Reaper. This is my introduction to found footage, and watching real people panic against an unseen force, it just hits differently. But what really stuck to me was the symbol. I couldn't walk down the street without noticing sticks, the branches in the trees, the cracks on the sidewalks, because once you've seen that symbol, it just meant you were next. The scariest part was how personal it felt. I wasn't watching a movie. I felt like I was part of the crew, and that's when I realized found footage horror could really be terrifying. Final Destination didn't scare me at night. It scared me everywhere else. Planes, roller coasters, bridges, even riding in a car felt unsafe. I genuinely tried to convince my parents to take a drive instead of taking a flight. What's the overall theme? You can't cheat death. Yeah, you can miss it once, but it'll come back. And after the second movie, cars weren't safe either. To this day, if I see logs, pipes, or steel beams on the back of a truck, I immediately change lanes, no hesitations, nuh-uh. The movies get more and more creative as they go, but that first one, it planted that fear into my everyday life, and that's way worse than any monster. After The Grudge, the strange sounds at night became even more scary. Growing up in my neighborhood, there were a ton of stray cats outside. Every meow made my heart sink to the floor, knowing that the boy and the cat were drowned together, their souls trapped in the same vessel. Knowing that, I couldn't brush off meows as, oh, it's just a cat. I didn't want to chance it. And the Japanese version scared me to my bones because it's relentless. The sounds, the pacing, and the way the curse spreads. It doesn't give you the rules to survive. Once the wicked souls mark you, that's it. You're done. I tried watching the American remake and it kind of doesn't do it justice. And I think because you don't understand it, it just adds a novelty to it. Horror isn't for everyone, and that's okay. But some of us, those early fears never really went away. They just took on different shapes. If one of these movies stuck with you longer than it should have, let me know in the comments. I want to know which ones followed you as you slowly grew up. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.